welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. This past week, as I said in my last book video, I read The Jealous Kind by James Lee Burke. I was so disappointed, actually. It was kind of this book I got in a book haul. It was like a discount book, and it was just like, I've never heard of it before, and I never heard of this author, and it was just so disappointing. Like, it was supposed to be about a class war in 1950s Texas, and like, honestly, from like even the cover, I don't know if this was like 1950s era. Like, I feel like I was expecting something different, and it was just incredibly disappointing. It basically followed around this guy Aaron, and like, also the thing is, it was supposed to be like all about like the rich and the poor, and like the strife between the rich and the poor, and like it took a while even for me to like establish who was like rich and who was poor, because the author kind of like set up the main character Aaron as being, it sounded like he was like in the poorer class because his dad was like an alcoholic, his mom had a lot of mental issues, and just like their family seemed really like torn apart, and like it just kind of like seemed like maybe he was like in the lower class or whatever, and then all of a sudden the author kind of like reveals that he is in a higher class and his best friend is in a low class, and that causes strife amongst them, and it was just kind of weird. And it was like, I just felt like the biggest problem with this book was that like nothing felt like earned. Like, Aaron came across this girl who I think went to his high school. I think they'd said that. And she was on a date with this guy, and somehow the guy was being a jerk. He ends up being one of the main characters. He's like an antagonist. And he ends up being a jerk, so Aaron says something, and then she breaks up with this boyfriend of hers, and then Aaron goes to her house to make sure she's okay, and then they like start dating. And it was just kind of like, none of it like made sense. And then there was just so much going on. Like, I honestly don't even know what this book is about. Like when I started reading it in the last video, I talked about it. I was like, there's a lot going on, but I think it'll come together. I'm just like along for the ride. And like, it didn't come together really. Like, it was just really weird. Like, it was basically, there was this rich kid who was this, like, the main character's new girlfriend, the ex that she broke up with. He and his dad are like corrupt and have ties to the mob, and then randomly there was like, when he went to this girl's town to see her the first time, these guys came and tried to beat him up, and then all of a sudden he's friends with those guys for some reason, and then one of those guys, like, his cousin was a prostitute, and she was Mexican and got murdered, and nobody cared about a Mexican prostitute being murdered, so that guy's like out for vengeance, trying to figure it out. And then there's like the stuff with the mob, and there's hitmen after them, and then there's like carjackings, and there's just random woman, and it was just like, there was like so much happening that just like did not feel like it connected. And I think he kind of tried to connect it all, but it was all just like so flippant, and like it just did not really like sometimes in books like where there's a lot going on and it all connects, I'm like, oh my god, it's amazing. But that did not happen for me. Like, I wasn't really into this. Like, I was kind of just like, I read it because I like wanted to see how he would do it, and it was just not good. Like, this girl, this Mexican prostitute who got murdered, like, she got murdered in the beginning, and it seemed to be like this huge plot point, and then it just like dropped for like 100 pages, and then randomly came up again, and then we found out who killed her, but it was just, nothing was done about it. And then the cousin who was like out for blood, finding out who killed his cousin, like, we never saw him find out. We never saw what the aftermath was. It was just weird. And then also another weird thing that was just like, just in this book for no reason, I felt like, was the main character Aaron got these like spells, like these where he just like blacks out and does a bunch of crazy stuff. So in the beginning, people thought he murdered the prostitute girl and like did other bad stuff, like set a car on fire, and he has no idea because he has these spells. And then that just like disappears. Like he kind of brings it up occasionally towards like the last third of the book, but like it kind of like disappeared for the whole middle, and that like wasn't even a thing anymore. And then like it just kind of like got brought up, but like there was never any conclusion about these weird spells, and like it was just weird. And and then there was an epilogue at the end, just kind of telling you what happened to all the characters. And like normally like in a book like this where there's lots of characters and a lot of different like plots going on and a lot of different like storylines or whatever, I love like a good epilogue, because I'm like, oh yeah, like that would happen to that person, like I love that, like, and like I sometimes like cry because I think it's so great, but like I just like didn't care about anyone in this whole thing. Like I just legit did not care. Like, so it was a really disappointing book. I was like really excited for it, and I just like I didn't really get into it from the beginning. I just felt like they were like introducing a lot and not really like tying it in very well, and it was just disappointing. I'd probably give this book like a 4 out of 10. Like it was fine, like I could get through it, like it was readable. It was just like not very, it wasn't my cup of tea for sure. But that's that. This week though, I am so excited because I'm gonna read a book I got during my day off when I was in Larchmont Village, and I'm gonna read Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. My plan is to read this book and then watch the movie and do like a little video about it, because I'm really excited to watch the movie. So I want to see it in theaters. So I decided, I think it'll be in theaters for a while because it's been doing really well and people are loving it, but I want to do it, you know, before I procrastinate too much for this. So I'm going to read this week. So I'm really excited. If you want to read along with me, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts about it. And as always in the comments, please suggest any books that you think I might really enjoy. That's it. Don't forget to subscribe. I do new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes more if I'm feeling super productive. But in general, it's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also hit the notification bell, because then you'll know every time I post a video. Thanks guys. Have a good night.